These are live visuals that we're getting to you from the Hyderabad House. Mike Pompeo and Esper have just arrived, so the official 2+2 dialogue will be kicking off any moment now. Rajnath Singh and S Jaishankar are already there. This is the moment when, in fact, the leaders greeted each other at the Hyderabad House. And you've got, of course, the usual photo op also. Pompeo, alongside him is Esper, then you have Rajnath Singh and S Jaishankar. So they will be sitting across the table with their counterparts to discuss several key strategic ties as well as defense ties. And we're expecting big headlines really from this round of talks. This is the third time we're seeing this 2+2 dialogue happening. The timing of it crucial because it's happening just with days to go for the US presidential polls. Despite that, top Trump aides there, Mike Pompeo and Esper in India, clearly highlights how important the White House considers relations with India to be. Besides that, of course, it's coming at a time when there is tension at the line of actual control. So China will be watching the developments and the takeaways of this particular meet very closely because the highlight of this dialogue will be on the strategic and defense front. The photo op is complete. The leaders have now gone in for a closed room meeting that will happen between Rajnath Singh, Esper, Jaishankar and Mike Pompeo. Geeta Mohan, Gaurav Sawant and Kamaljeet Sandhu joining us with more details on this. So Geeta, the photo opportunity done with, the mandatory handshake happening despite the pandemic. I was expecting it to be elbow bumps this time around. But the closed door meet has now begun and perhaps from a few hours from now, the official statement will be made.
Well, that's right. They did have the elbow bumps yesterday, but the important meeting is going to begin in moments from now. Both sides are going to sit down and discuss the nitty-gritties of how to take relations forward. Remember, both sides before the meeting, senior administration officials in the United States of America, as well as MEA and Defense Ministry officials here in India, have been emphasizing on how the strategic cooperation between India and the United States of America is going to be top focus and how to take the relations forward, be it militarily, strategically, or for that matter, economically and on foreign policy issues. Visuals there of them having a bit of a chat before really going into the talks.
Stay with me. I just want to dip into what's happening there live. Rajnath currently speaking.
सबसे पहले मैं दोनों सेक्रेटरीज का स्वागत करता हूं और पूरे डेलीगेशन का भी स्वागत करता हूं। ऐसे समय में जबकि यात्रा करना कभी भी रिस्की माना जा रहा है, दिल्ली तक का सफर तय करने के लिए आपका आभार। सबसे पहले मैं दोनों सेक्रेटरीज का स्वागत करता हूं, डेलीगेशन का भी स्वागत करता हूं। ऐसे समय में जबकि यात्रा करना अभी भी रिस्की माना जा रहा है, दिल्ली तक का सफर तय करने के लिए आपका आभार। इंडो-यूएस पार्टनरशिप के लिए आपकी पर्सनल कमिटमेंट का भी बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद। हम एक अभूतपूर्व समय से मिल रहे हैं। यह महामारी ऐसी है कि हमने अपने जीवन काल में पहले कभी अनुभव नहीं किया। हमारी अर्थव्यवस्थाओं को काफी नुकसान हुआ, काफी लोग भी इससे प्रभावित हुए हैं और मरने वालों की संख्या भी बहुत है। हम इंडस्ट्री या सर्विस आउटपुट को वापस पटरी पर लाने के लिए सरकार की तरफ से यथासंभव प्रयास कर रहे हैं। हम सबसे बुरी तरह प्रभावित क्षेत्रों को रिलीफ प्रदान कर रहे हैं। हमें इकोनॉमिक डाउनटर्न के कारण हुए नुकसान की भरपाई करने के लिए तेजी से प्रयास करने होंगे, क्योंकि इकोनॉमिक डाउनटर्न के डोमेस्टिक और एक्सटर्नल दोनों ही असर हो सकते हैं। एक्सेलेंसीज, आज के समय में जो चैलेंजेस हम फेस कर रहे हैं उनकी वजह से हमारी पार्टनरशिप और भी महत्वपूर्ण हो जाती है और हमारे भविष्य को यह निर्धारित करती है। हम दोनों रूल बेस्ड ऑर्डर एवं डेमोक्रेसी में विश्वास करते हैं। भारत के सबसे प्रमुख और विशिष्ट पार्टनर में से एक के रूप में यूएस का समर्थन और इंगेजमेंट हमारे लिए बहुत ही महत्वपूर्ण है और हमारी पार्टनरशिप की ताकत आपके स्वास्थ्य में प्रदर्शित हुई है, जिसके लिए आपके प्रति आभार व्यक्त करते हैं। कल मेरी डॉक्टर एस्पर से काफी महत्वपूर्ण और विस्तृत चर्चा हुई है और हमें यह खुशी है कि हमने BECA को पूरा कर दिया, जिससे विभिन्न जियो स्पेशल इंफॉर्मेशन तथा एप्लीकेशंस की विस्तृत संभावनाओं के बाद खुल जाएंगे। यह सभी तथा अन्य अचीवमेंट खुद में ही काफी महत्वपूर्ण है। हम चर्चा करने के लिए उत्सुक हैं और आज के इम्पोर्टेंट लिस्टेड एजेंडा को आगे बढ़ाते हैं। इसके साथ ही मैं एक्सेलेंसी सेक्रेटरी पोम्पियो से कुछ बोलने का आग्रह करता हूँ। बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद।
Thank you very much. It's an honor to be here with you for the third 2+2. The only one that's met at all three. Our friendship and commitment to a free and open Indo-Pacific was clearly highly on display when we were in Tokyo this past week and a half, the quad meeting that Minister Jaishankar and I had with our Australian and Japanese friends earlier this month. Today is a real opportunity for two great democracies like ours to grow closer. As I said on my trip to India last year, when I called for a new age of ambition in our relationship, I think we've delivered on that over this past year. There's much more work to do for sure. We have a lot to discuss today, from cooperating on defeating the pandemic that originated in Wuhan, to confronting the Chinese Communist Party's threats to security and freedom, to promoting peace and stability throughout the region. Together, our two countries are building a better future for our people based on our shared set of values and our cultures, our defense ties, our scientific collaboration, and mutual prosperity. Thank you for your leadership to each of you to build what ought to be a defining partnership of democracies in the 21st century.
Minister Singh, Minister Jaishankar, I'm honored to be here with you alongside Secretary Pompeo for our third 2+2 Ministerial Dialogue. Today we meet in the midst of public health, economic and security challenges around the globe. It's the partnership between our two nations has better prepared us to address and deter. This year marks the 15th anniversary of the first U.S.-India defense framework and our third 2+2 Ministerial. We have strengthened our defense and security partnership considerably since then, especially over the past year, during which we advanced our regional security, military-to-military, and information sharing cooperation. Our focus now must be on institutionalizing and regularizing our cooperation to meet the challenges of the day and uphold the principles of a free and open Indo-Pacific well into the future. Today I look forward to discussing key opportunities to expand our efforts on regional security concerns and to advance our defense priorities, to include increasing information sharing and mutual logistics operations between our militaries. To my Indian colleagues, thank you again for your gracious hospitality and friendship as we continue to strengthen this most consequential partnership between the world's two largest democracies. Thank you both.
Shamanti, Secretary Pompeo, Secretary Esper, dear colleagues, it's a great pleasure to welcome the American delegation to India for the third 2+2 meeting between us. As Foreign Minister, I attach great importance to this particular format of our interaction for two reasons. First, we live in a more uncertain world with much greater stresses and sharper fault lines. For most countries, that means giving security a greater salience in their foreign policy. As major powers, this is even more so in our case. Second, over the last 2 decades, our bilateral relationship has grown steadily in its substance, facets, and significance. The accompanying comfort levels today enable us to engage much more intensively on matters of national security. This format is clearly tailored for that purpose. Third, at a time when it's particularly important to uphold a rules-based international order, the ability of India and the United States to work closely in defense and foreign policy has a larger resonance. Together, we can make a real difference when it comes to regional and global challenges, whether it is in respecting territorial integrity, promoting maritime domain awareness, counter-terrorism, or creating prosperity. I am therefore looking forward to our discussions today and I'm sure they will be very productive. Thank you.
The opening statements by Rajnath Singh, S Jaishankar, Mike Pompeo and Esper. Welcoming statements by Rajnath and S Jaishankar, welcoming them to India and also talking about how crucial this dialogue is. A similar sentiment echoed there by the United States as well, with Pompeo and Esper talking about really what they believe will be the big takeaways from this dialogue. Taking this across to Geeta Mohan, Gaurav Sawant and Kamaljeet Sandhu. So Geeta, the welcoming statements are done with. Now the closed door meet will begin.
Well, absolutely, and the nitty-gritties, like all the four ministers and secretaries pointed out, are going to be on forward momentum to an already strengthened and strong Indo-US ties, be it on the strategic front or, for that matter, on the economic front. Like I said, Akshita, earlier, while there is a major military deal that is being signed, an agreement that is being signed in terms of how the two sides are going to share intelligence and data to secure the region, they are also going to discuss, and every aspect right now post-COVID pandemic has been directed at how to strengthen the region and the world against expansionist and aggressive nations, particularly China. And in that, supply chain resilience is going to be of great importance. On the bilateral front, the two sides are going to talk about how to take forward trade agreements between the two sides, iron out the visa issues that the two countries have, and also look at how the recent rulings of this US administration have not really boded well for India or Indians working in America. These are aspects that are going to be very specific to foreign policy front, but on strategic front, Indo-Pacific, securing the Indo-Pacific Quad, securing and ensuring like-minded countries also join Quad in the future, and of course the basic exchange and cooperation agreement between the two countries that is going to be signed today between India and the United States of America.
You know, we've been discussing the timing of this particular meet, and Gaurav, it's not just about the fact that, you know, the US presidential polls are days away. It's also about the fact that there is a lot of Chinese aggression at the line of actual control. We've seen some very strong statements by Mike Pompeo on this, where he's put the onus on China time and again. What do you really think will be the takeaway on that front from the 2+2 dialogue? Will there be a mention of China? Will there not? And even if there's no mention of China, will it still mean that there is a certain message that's sent across to Beijing, the fact that this meeting itself is happening?
The fact that two very powerful ministers of the Donald Trump administration, their defense minister and their foreign minister, are in India just before elections shows the importance that the United States also attaches to this relationship and to this region to counter an expansionist China. Just a short while back, you would recall, our foreign minister, Dr. Jaishankar, flew to Tokyo. Mike Pompeo flew to Tokyo. And that was the meeting of the Quad foreign ministers. They escalated it to the level of foreign ministers. So India, Japan, Australia and America, in the COVID pandemic, they met in Tokyo to discuss the road ahead. Again, what was the conversation all about? How do you counter an expansionist China? Perhaps the hope also is that smaller countries, Taiwan, Philippines, Vietnam, all these countries will also, feel emboldened to take on an expansionist China. Taiwan has been doing that. Vietnam has been doing that. Philippines, to a large extent, now is trying to do that. Myanmar has done that. And again, India and America cooperating to ensure that countries like Myanmar, Sri Lanka, Maldives, they are helped and kept out of the clutches of China. That's also extremely significant. The only, in a way, outcast here is Pakistan, that not only remains a state sponsor of terror, but also virtually a vassal state of China. Now, to counter Pakistan and China together, especially in Afghanistan, India and the United States of America are expected to cooperate closer. Now, America wants to get out of Afghanistan. India wants a bigger role in Afghanistan? What shape will that take? Because you can't let Afghanistan fall into Pakistan's hands, lock, stock and barrel for China, or, that Russia, China, Pakistan attempt that Pakistan is trying to make. So there are a lot of discussions that are happening even on this front. So it's not just about India, America. It's not just about purchasing of hardware from the United States of America. It's also about regional stability and, of course, ensuring sea lanes of communication in the Indo-Pacific are kept open.
And when we focus on regional stability, on peace, on the Indo-Pacific region, there is going to be a talk about Quad, something that the United States has spoken about time and again. That by itself will be strong messaging to China. Request Kamaljeet, Gaurav and Geeta to stay on with us.
Hi everyone, Preeti Chaudhary here. Hope you like this video. For latest news and analysis, like and subscribe to the India Today YouTube channel. And don't forget to press the bell icon to stay updated. Thank you for watching.